All right, it says I'm live. Hopefully the internet lines aren't completely frozen up. Man, it's cold here where I'm at. It's like just went outside for a second to change into my. I had to go back to my other shop to change into my new YouTube shirt. So get used to this shirt because you're going to be seeing it often. Apparently, it's not a good idea to wear any shirts on YouTube that show any information on them. So yeah, I'm just going to go with this standard solid shirt and maybe maybe switch it up to gray or something once in a while. So sorry guys, no more of the work shirts with holes in them. Anyways, yeah, it's like about -15 outside actual temperature, and with the wind chill, I don't even want to guess. You know, probably -40, something like that. But it's cold, like too darn cold. And what's crazy is I just got this emergency alert on my phone just a second ago. That's what kind of paused me from going online. And it popped up with like that Amber Alert thing, like, you know, if like a child's abducted or something. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And it actually said it was coming from, you know, the utility companies are asking people to turn their heat down to 65 right now because they're having a hard time keeping up with supplying all the energy it takes to keep everyone's houses and businesses warm. I just thought that was kind of crazy. So don't know where you guys are at, but hopefully it's a little warmer for you. Anyways, let's see if anyone's in here. I kind of started late tonight, guys, and don't plan on staying on too awfully long. But there's a couple cool things that people have been asking about that I just kind of wanted to show you guys and do a little unboxing too of something neat I just got. So let's see here. 6.4 Hemi was here first. What's up? Switchpod, how's it going, man? Warsaw Patriots here. Hello? Brastard, nice to see you, man. Francis, you too. Glad to see you here. So yeah, anyways, enough complaining about the cold. It's moderately warm where I'm at. Let's see here. It's 59.4 degrees where I'm sitting right now. So this will be fine with me. Anyways, most of you guys are familiar, obviously, with the Misha channel. Misha Co. Well, there's two channels. There's Misha Co. That's their main channel that Misha and Jay have had for quite a few years now. It's a pretty popular channel. And then Misha himself has his B channel now called Misha. It's a cool channel, you know. He's doing a lot of just kind of like talking about guns. He's a lot more casual in that channel. Kind of gives you some of his opinions, talks a little more politics, if you will, and kind of shares some interesting stories about being blind and everything. So yeah, anyways, the only reason I mentioned those two channels is not only are they like awesome channels, obviously, but one of them kind of gave me the inspiration to show this gun here. So this here is my Legion USA AKM Kit Build. And probably about a year and a half ago, Misha, who's the owner of Ozark Bear Arms, he had a special small like limited edition batch of these made just for him, for his store to sell. And he did a video about it on the Misha Go channel. You can look up Misha Co. Legion USA or Legion AK or something like that. You'll find that. And he just did a follow-up video on his Misha channel, his B channel, talking about this just a couple days ago. So I thought, well, you know, I got one of these too. And I kind of showed this gun before. I did it in like that, it was a video response to Zeke a while back where I was kind of, you know, making fun of Nothing Fancy and whatnot. But I didn't really, you know, show the gun in too much detail. So I thought since Misha did a video on it, it kind of inspired me to get mine back out again, right? So yeah, what we have here is this is a 1973 Tula manufacturer, AKM originally, AKM parts kit. Yeah, you can get a good look at the roll mark right there. These are pretty nice kits. I mean, I would definitely call these, you know, hand select kits for sure. I think, you know, pretty much all of the Legion AKMs are going to be made from real nice, you know, hand select kits. Usually all matching. Occasionally there's small parts that don't match, but most of the time they go for all matching or at the very least major component matching. And, you know, the major components by most are considered to be obviously your trunnion and then your bolt and then your carrier. The main thing you want to look for, though, in my opinion, in a kit, if you had to pick, is you want your bolt to match your trunnion, because that's where not only the headspace is made, but also the hand fitting that's, you know, required. The hand fitting or tuning for any AKM bolt to trunnion surface. So if you had to pick just 2 parts, you always want your trunnion and bolt to match. But in this case, this kit's pretty nice, guys. With it being somewhat later Tula production, it has some of the later features. Like with the, well, you guys are going to hate for me to say this, but I'll just say it now. Guns of this era actually started to have quite a few cast parts on them. And there's nothing wrong with this at all. When we hear about cast and the problems that are associated with cast parts, usually that's a couple things going on. First of all, it's usually an AKM that's made in the United States. And as of now, United States companies as a whole have had a hard time manufacturing the AK from the ground up. So when you say cast, it's kind of like a real complicated thing. I'm not really going to go down that rabbit hole, but the main thing people are worried about is the cast trunnion, particularly the cast front trunnion, right? Now, on this Tula, and as is the case with all Russian AKMs, the front trunnion was always cast. All the way up, or I'm sorry, always forged. I almost said that backwards. Sorry, guys. Was always forged, even up to the very end. 1976, 77 production, still forged. What I mean by cast is we have a few parts on the front here. You know, they went to a cast front sight base. And not a rough cast either. It's you know, they still did a high level of machining on them, but you've got a cast part there. Usually a cast gas block, cast lower handguard retainer. The rear sight base can be cast, but on this particular one, I've been studying it pretty close. I believe this one still has a forged rear sight base, which in 73 you could kind of have, you know, you could have some transitional parts. Let's just put it that way. By the early mid 70s, they were starting to transition to some of the newer, you know, features and some of the cast parts. By the late 70s, mid to late 70s, most of the parts were cast on these besides your front trunnion. Your bolt was obviously always forged. Towards the end of production, they actually started casting the rear trunnions and even the carriers. So, I don't know, I just figured I'd throw that out there just kind of for argument's sake, just to kind of troll people that they freak out and they talk about cast, and forged. Yes, that matters, but what you should be more worried about is who's doing the casting, right? What's it cast from? How did they relieve it? How did they heat treat? You know, just different things like that, because I'm not a metallurgist, guys, and I don't even work in the metal industry, but let's just say there's a lot more to it than just to say all cast is bad and all forged is good. I think it's way more complicated than that, right? But yeah, I'm trying to think of what's interesting on this gun. First of all, I like that it has the darker kind of red, you know, Tula look to it. You'll find with your, you know, Russian furniture that the Azovsk factory is kind of known for having more of the brown colored furniture. You know, kind of even a little bit of a golden color, sometimes tan. And they look great. But when people think of like the Russian red furniture, that's usually more associated with the Tula factory. And when I bought this gun from Misha, we were emailing about it. And I put in a request to him and said, you know, of the ones you have left, try to get me one that's a little more red, about the reddest one that you can get. And that's because, you know, I have a few of these different Russian AKM kit builds, and most of mine tend to be more on the lighter side of things, like, you know, Azovsk kits. And then even my other Tula kits, kind of a little bit lighter, almost a borderline tannish red. And man, he was really nice. You know, he was really nice to accommodate me on this gun. And, you know, if he's watching this later, I really thank you, Misha, because these guns weren't exactly easy to get, guys. If you've watched his videos, he can explain it. Basically what he did is he really liked the Legion guns, and they're awesome. And it probably doesn't really matter, but they use the Green Mountain chrome line barrels. So not a cheap barrel, nothing wrong with a Green Mountain barrel. They're great. But in Misha's opinion, it's just not quite right unless it has a com block barrel. And, you know, I agree. So what he did is he actually purchased some Polish FB Radom barrels and sent them over to Legion USA and asked them if they could hand select. And he specifically asked them to get kits from kind of like the 70s, because we had seen a lot of late 60s kits in the country, mainly from our guns. And he kind of wanted to do something a little different. So he sent the barrels, requested that they build from kits that were somewhere in the 70s. And basically had a dozen of these made. I think 12 is about the number of these that were produced. So in one sense, this is a Legion, you know, USA AKM, and it bears their roll mark right here. It's kind of cool how they put their own little logo and put the Russian writing on there, right? I think that's kind of cool. But if you want to be specific, this exact one, like the Misha Special Edition, if you will, Ozark Bare Arms Limited Edition, there's only about 12 of these that were ever made with the FB Radom, you know, Polish barrels. So I thought that was pretty cool. And again, it's nothing I'm bragging about as much as I genuinely mean what I'm saying. I feel lucky to have one of these. And, you know, Misha's been a good buddy and just a good guy to know. So if I could just give a quick plug, if you guys are ever looking for anything, go look for him, you know, on Gunbroker. Really good shop. He has a lot of really neat stuff for sale. Very honest seller. So besides his YouTube content, don't forget, he also owns a gun shop that I'm going to fully endorse and recommend as a repeat customer, guys. And here's one of the examples of what I got from him. Really nice dark pistol grip. Came with this kit. They also shipped these with the Bakelite Magazine, which is really cool. I love the look of these Bakelites, and they're also very durable, good mags too. So they came with this. And note, it is actually a correct Tula. They paid attention to the details. If you had a Tula gun, Tula kit, they gave you a Tula mag. Also came with the same correct era, so-called Bakelite handled bayonet. Very good condition bayonet with the leather hanger intact, which is nice. Or the lanyard, I'm sorry. Here's the hanger. And yeah, they even went through the detail that, again, with this being a Tula kit, Tula marked bayonet. So yeah, with this era guns, obviously you could get bayonets that look pretty much just like this, and they can be marked Azovsk or Tula. Both factories made them. Same thing with these Bakelite mags. They could be Tula or Azovsk marked. And I just think it was kind of cool that they went through the detail of actually giving you the correct manufactured mag and bayonet for the rifle. So that was pretty nice. Also came with this genuine correct era Russian sling. See if I can get that to show a little bit here. I believe, let me find it. There's a stamp on here somewhere. I think this sling is actually dated in 1973 also. Yeah, it's under the fold. It's not going to pick up on camera. But yeah, I mean, these guns are really, really nice. And I don't know if they're still available or not. You could get, I mean, I know this one's not available. This special Misha edition with the Polish barrel. But just their AKMs in general were available not too long ago from Legion's website. I'm not sure if they have them anymore or not. You guys would have to check. I do know that from the get-go, just to have one of their AKMs periods are pretty rare because they kind of build them one at a time, small batches, handmade. And the interesting thing too, and this is in Misha's videos, but the interesting thing about these guns is these are probably about as close as you can get to a real Russian AKM. And the reason I say that is because these guns are not only built on Russian parts kits, but they're actually built by Russians that formerly worked for the Azovsk and Tula and Molot factories. So I think that's pretty cool. They're actually, the people that work for Legion USA, from what I understand, are actually Russian citizens. And they're here on a work visa, you know, like a green card, if you will. So pretty darn cool. I mean, by technicality, the gun's still considered American-made. It has an American-made Childers CG1 receiver, which, if you're familiar with the CG1, that basically means it's a Childers receiver with correct selector markings, period correct spot welds, correct X and Y axis dimples, even though we can't utilize this one, it's still there. And the shell itself, the actual blank, if you will, the 80%, if you want to call that, is made in Poland and then finished here. So legally, by strict, you know, ATF standards, this is an American-made receiver. But in all physical actuality, this is a Polish receiver, Polish barrel, and then the rest of the parts are virtually all Russian on this gun. So, yeah, pretty nice. Well, I'm kind of glad it's not a total wrenchless stream, because if it was, we'd probably have that stupid bot in here. I'd have to be looking for him. But yeah, you know, hopefully Legion still has these. If they don't, hopefully they get more. I mean, these AKMs, in my opinion, are about as good as it gets, guys. For like a store-bought gun. I mean, they're right up there. Really nice. This has the original Russian trigger. And if you guys have ever used a real combat trigger, you know what I'm talking about. The trigger is much thinner. I mean, this profile of it, the side profile is thick, but the actual part that your finger pad touches against, it's going to be hard to get this angle on the camera, guys, but it's much thinner. And that's why when I say I hate the Tapco, there's a few reasons I hate the Tapco. The main reason is the hammer is not the correct profile, and it's way too hard, and it destroys your gun. But even if all of that wasn't true, I still don't like the stupid thing, because the Tapco is just too wide. To me, an AK trigger isn't supposed to feel like that. I don't expect that feel on a AK. A wider trigger is fine for other guns, and there's nothing wrong with that if you like to shoot with a trigger that's a little wider. It just doesn't feel like an AK to me, the Tapco G2 trigger. This is actually a true Russian trigger. So, yeah, it is a nice, smooth trigger, too. I think maybe Legion might have done a little bit of polishing on the engagement surfaces, because it feels just a hair better than a normal stock combat trigger. But yeah, I just felt kind of left out, guys. Misha just did another video on this the other day, and hey, I thought I'd share it. And here's the thing, guys, just amongst friends, I wanted to give him a genuine shout out. No, he's not a sponsor of the channel. No, he doesn't send me any guns. He does the same thing for me that he does all of his Patreon supporters. He has a Patreon tier. You can go to his Patreon and check him out. And if you meet a certain tier on his Patreon, he'll work with you and give you a discount from his gun shop. So the only connections I have with him on prices is the same thing any of you guys can if you're a $10 more a month Patreon member. And he's announced that in his videos. So anyways, I'm just literally giving him a shout out because it's a really good place to deal with. And this is not the only gun I bought from there. I've bought several guns from them, and really classy guy. All right, let's see what's going on in the comments here, guys. I didn't know that anybody'd be on because it's kind of late, but I'm glad you guys are here. SwitchPod said, what's up? What's up, man? Good to see you again. Was just hanging out last night on that famous Zeke Shoots channel, if anyone's ever heard of that guy. Let's see here. Warsaw's got a message for the YouTube headquarters. My browser said just don't go topless. Don't worry about that, dude. I have good-looking guns, you know, but, you know, I ain't good-looking guns. But, no, I don't look good with my shirt off, so no worry about that. Francis said hi. How's it going, Francis? Okay, -30 where SwitchPod's at, with wind chill at -50. So I guess I'm not in the coldest place. But this is like they call it once-in-a-generation cold streak where I'm at. This is as cold as it's been since 1994. So for me, it's a little cold. Brasser just needs a sweater. Yeah, well, you're obviously not up here right now. And Brasser's seen Misha's videos on those. Yeah, on his Misha channel, he just put this out like, I want to say 3 days ago. And yes, Francis has one of these. We've talked about this before. A 1966 Tula. That's pretty nice. Because those famous R Guns kits that a lot of you guys have looked at or bought, those were all kind of like 68 and 69. So just because they, you know, though that's probably about the biggest shipment that I know of that came to the country of, you know, Russian AKM kits. So not that there's anything wrong with those, and they're still very rare in their own right. And I think even at current prices, still a great investment, guys. But with all that said, if you find AKMs that are a little before 68 or 69 or after, they're just kind of a little different. I don't really want to say rare, but just a little more unique. Albert's here. What's up, Albert? He's my favorite one. Remember that, guys? All right. Orion. What's up, Orion? I was hanging out with Orion in that Zeke guy stream, too. Zeekee is how you spell Zeke. If you guys are looking for him, Oh, wait, never mind. Okay. If you're looking for him, it's Zeke shoots. Zeke shoots. But if you want to talk crap about him and talk behind his back and about that barrel pen, then you have to spell it wrong, because he's a smart guy to a point, but he's not so smart where if you spell one letter wrong in his name, he'll never find you guys. It works perfect every time. But please, can you guys do me a favor? Don't tell Zeke I'm telling you this, okay? No matter what, all of you have to promise not to tell Zeke. But that's my little secret if you want to get him, okay? All right, let's see here. Yeah, Warsaw's asking if anyone's made a milled front trunnion. Well, yeah, that would be like what a lot of times they call like the billet, I think is what you're getting at. But yeah, they're all milled, if you will. So even if it's a cast front trunnion, they buy what's called like an investment cast, or some people might call it an 80% casting. The casting is just going to get it closed. They still have to do milling operations to it, whether it's, cast, billet, even forge. So I don't know. I'm going to get something wrong here because there's some guys that know a lot more than me about this, but I think you could use the words that they're all, quote, milled. And I think sometimes some of these parts that we get here that are, quote, USA made, in fact, I know this for a fact. I'm just not going to call out any of their names. Some of them are actually, it's not quite the case. In other words, some of the, quote, USA made AKs that they're selling right now have investment castings that are coming from Korea, usually South Korea, other places, and then they're finishing them here, and then they're able to legally still call them a quote-unquote milled receiver or billet receiver, and they say, well, it's milled from a billet, and then they don't really tell you what. They might give you the steel. They might say, well, it's machined from a billet of whatever steel, 4130 steel. Well, yeah, but it could have been a billet of 4130 cast. You guys get what I'm saying. There's a lot of really shady stuff that goes on as far as like nomenclatures, and they kind of just like skate around the truth and give you these gray area terminologies. But yeah, there's a lot of goofy stuff going on. And I mean referring to these some of the current AK American manufacturers. Now, I will say this about Palmetto. I have a couple of their Generation 1s, one of their Generation 2s. I don't have a Generation 3, the GB3, so-called, I think. Anyways, I do know for a fact that they do actually have hammer forging equipment, because they bought that when they acquired the company that used to be called DDI. And if you guys remember DDI did actually go through and invest in a cold hammer forging setup to make forged parts, but there were some other things with them. Namely, they were not heat treating the receivers properly, or they weren't, relaxing the temper of them enough. And you were finding a lot of them like around the rivet holes were starting to crack. That was a big problem they had, and other problems. So from what I understand, Palmetto has purchased, and this is a few years back that they actually purchased. First they merged with DDI, then they just bought them outright, then they dissolved the DDI brand. And I think these new Generation 3 PSAs are basically utilizing the, hammer forging equipment that they had purchased through their acquisition of DDI. Got off on a little tangent there, guys. I'm supposed to be reading the comments here. Albert, what's Misha's other channel called? His other channel is just called Misha, simply. And his main channel is Misha Co. And Francis already had my back, so he answered that for you. Oh, let's see here what you guys are talking about. Yeah, the Soviet red, the deep blood red. Yeah, I think this qualifies as a Soviet red. It always looks a little different in real life. And I've got these lights shining pretty bright right now. But when it's in normal lighting, it actually looks a lot more red than it does, even on camera. I've just kind of been told that the brighter the lights I install, it makes it pick up higher definition in the camera too. So it's not that I really enjoy squinting. It's just that if there's not enough light, a cheaper camera like what I have, I'm just using a Logitech, by the way, guys, the famous Logitech 920 webcam. And for the money, it's awesome. For like a $50 webcam, I don't think you can buy better. But at the end of the day, it's the best $50 webcam. It's not a $500 or whatever dollar webcam. But yeah, the light allows it to come in, and it still will have trouble focusing, but there you go. The extra light gives you the resolution. And it's actually making this stock look lighter than what it really is. Let's see here. Warsaw wants to know what he missed. I think you were in here mostly from the beginning, but basically just talking about this gun and how Misha was talking about it, and I kind of felt left out, so I wanted to join in. Thank you, Warsaw. Warsaw said it looks sick. Better red than dead, Bastard said. Francis says, mine's very dark red, and it's the most beautiful AK I've ever seen. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you can enjoy it. They are really pretty, aren't they? Do you do yours up with the Bakelite mag and bayonet and all that? Is that the look you're going for, or are you sporting something else? I'm not even going to ask you if you kept it authentic, because I know you did. If I found out you put rails and stuff on it, I'd be pretty pissed. But I don't think you'd do that to one of these. But then again, you might. I got to take my digs in at all the rails and lights and laser guys that come in here, because they're friends of mine, but I'm not going to cut them any slack on that bullshit. Let's see here. Having a hard time finding Misha. I'm not sure how. Let me think here. Okay, I know how you can find him. If you go to the Misha Co channel, when people ask questions of him on there, if you look at the person that replied, it used to always say Ozark Bear Arms. Well, now in the last month or two, since he started his Misha channel, just literally go to his last video, look for replies. He's really good about replying. And you'll see there's a user named Misha that's replying. So just click on that, and that'll take you straight to the Misha channel. That's actually how I found out he started a channel. About a month or two back, I want to say maybe 2 months ago now. I was in his channel watching his comments, and I saw this cat named Misha was responding, and I'm like, I have a pretty good idea who that is. And I'm like, I wonder if he has any videos. And sure enough, at that point in time, he had like 3 videos up, 3 or 4 videos when I found out about him. And it's like half guns, probably 30-40% Star Trek stuff, actually. And then 10% just him kind of talking about life and just giving stories, Let's see what we got here. Yeah, the Legion, the Green Mountain barrel's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I was just like telling you guys that's what differentiates these that Ozark Bear Arms was selling is the fact that they have the Polish barrels in them. I'm not bragging that mine's better than yours at all. I hope you didn't take it that way. I was just telling you that was the key difference. That, and he had them select from kind of the 1970s vintage. Yeah, the Type 9930 cal. I did see that video, actually. That's a pretty cool US 30 cal. So basically, US 30 cal would be like our 30-06. So, yeah, that's an interesting video, too. Oh, and then the next comment, you said American conversion to 30-06. Yep. This is hilarious. Every time I answer a question, someone else answered it just a little bit further down. That's funny. All right. I'm hearing that Legion USA may be sold out. That sucks. Hopefully they get some more. And Zeke Schutz is here. See? I talk crap about him, and there he is. What's up with that? Slight difference in color. There is a little difference in color, and this is the only thing with the Legions, guys. Their version of a Russian black paint is just a little bit different. So this part here would have been an original painted part. And this is their version of the Russian black, which is obviously just a little bit off. I think I wouldn't mind painting this gun a little bit darker, shinier black later on down the road. But in all fairness to Legion, Russia didn't just use one black. So over the years, they had many different vendors. Different factories would have different vendors of paint. And the quote-unquote Russian black paint isn't actually really a thing. There's lots of different versions of Russian black. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of a difference. And then it's really common in a lot of cases on AKs, Warsaw, for the carrier to be a little different sheen than the other components of the gun, like the top cover, receiver. So, but if you're looking at the gas tube and gas block where they meet up, Yeah, they're a little bit different sheen, and that's because this is an original painted factory part. This is Legion's little bit incorrect version of black paint that they put on there that's not quite right. But it still looks good as a whole when you look at it. It's not really a deal breaker. It's the one little complaint I have, though. How's it going, Zeke? I'm doing good. PSA's bought up everything, kind of. Let's see here. What did I miss? You guys are saying a lot, which is good. It's just hard to keep up with. Oh yeah, Orion's right. Yep. That's a good way to spell Zeke's name. Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't buy one of those Apex kits without a trunnion. To me, that's just like whatever. It's not even a Russian kit without a trunnion. If there's one part you have to pick when you're building a parts kit, if you want it to be correct at all, it's the trunnion, right? So the fact that they're missing a trunnion, nah. It's up to you guys. Somebody out there might think it's cool, but for me, I have zero interest in it. Unless they wanted to sell it to me for like $200 for components, maybe. Other than that, no, I'm not going to buy a Russian kit without a trunnion. I'm not going to buy one with a scrub trunnion either unless it's dirt cheap. I hate scrub trunnions, by the way. Yes, and like Zeke said, these are good barrels, and they do have their own serial number. And even though this barrel's been painted, you can still see the serial number underneath the handguard here. There was a little spot that they taped off to still show you the serial number. Which originally these barrels are more of a blued, but they painted it, which is correct for Russia. Russia was definitely not bluing any of their AKs in the 70s. So this is properly painted as it should be. Let's see here. Limbert Johnson's here. He says 1979. That was a good year, by the way. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but that was a good year. I'll say that. He says, still looking for a Russian AK for my collection, 1 in 7.62 and 5.45. Yeah, it's always good to have a Russian. That's kind of the staple, right? Okay, Francis is original with Tula Bakelite mags and original steel mags with it. Yep. And then there's, the steel stamped mags that look great in these. There's also the aluminum paratrooper mag, looks good in this era. You can put one of the steel slab side mags in, and those look fine too, just not really correct for, 60s and 70s era AKs. Those are more of like a Type 1 and Type 2 mag, the slab side ones, those thick, heavy ones. Let's see here. Glock Shooter 79's in the house. He says, Niet rifle is better. Nah, I disagree with you. But yeah, anyways. Okay, Albert found him. That's good. Let's see here. It's just Russian Rust-Oleum, basically. And what I found works the best for the Russian is there's a Sherwin-Williams product that's made for their barbecue grills. So it's like a porcelain or ceramic, fortified, and it does pretty good job with the heat, and I think matches up just a little better with the darker black color. And before I forget, I've been telling you guys, hold on 1 second. If I can't find it quickly, I'll be right back. I think I have some of that barbecue grill paint. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Sorry, actually, I don't have the Sherwin-Williams stuff, which I thought was a little better, but this will work too, actually. This Krylon high heat, it actually matches up pretty good, depending on the country of AK you're doing. I mean, Hungary used a little different sheen and black color than Russia, and there's different ones. Bulgaria is a little different yet, but hey. I like blue guns too, but if the gun's supposed to be painted, I'd rather have it painted. If it's supposed to be blued, yeah, I'd like to have it blued. I kind of like them to have the correct finish. Hey, Road Scholar, what's up? How's it going? Richard Hughes, what's up, man? Let's see here. Yeah, those slab-sided Russian mags are noticeably heavier, like probably 2 times heavier. VHT makes good products too, paints and all that. I like to use VHT rust converter too, like on equipment and whatnot. Let's see here. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna shave the beard right now. It's way too cold outside. It's getting kind of long, you know, but hey. Same thing with my hair. I need a haircut like crazy, but not right now. This is really helping me out there. It's pretty cold. I think I have one of those other Russian mags right here. Let me grab that other Russian mag. Yeah. Here's that standard slab side mag I'm talking about, which is an early, basically for the type 1s, type 2s, and I think even into the type 3 production these were used. Basically your milled AKs. This has it's a rather faint proof, but it has a Azov's proof mark on the back here. If it'll focus. There we go. But yeah, these don't have any stamping reinforcements, and basically the strength of these mags depends on just the fact that they're so thick. And they weigh probably 2 for 1 over a regular, you know, steel mag. But you'll notice, speaking of the whole bluing versus painting, this is blued. So back in this era, when these mags were standard issue, Russia was still bluing their guns. So yeah. Now here's a painted mag. And this one's actually made out of aluminum. And this is a Russian aluminum so-called paratrooper mag. And you can see this has extra deep stamped reinforcements in it. Because, well, with it being aluminum, it's going to be a lot more prone to being dented, right? But yeah, so we're looking at real early mag in this hand. And then in this hand, a much later mag. And you can see how they kind of changed the profile a little bit here. Put in some extra spot welds that you're not going to see on the steel mag. And here's where the big difference is, obviously. Completely different design. But yeah, now these on the other hand are like featherweight. And I'm going to say these are actually more than half as light as the other ones. So probably 2 to 3 of these just to equal a regular sheet metal mag. And probably about 4 or 5 to 1. You could probably literally hold 4 or 5 of these to one of this style. And then this is a really nice one. This also came from Legion USA. It did not come with that AKM. This was a separate purchase. But they had these a while back, and they were advertising them as like excellent to unissued. And I'd say this one's pretty much unissued. Just a little bit of, you know, storage handling. Let's see if I can get it to zoom in on the spine there. There's some neat proof marks. There we go. Some dust bunnies on it too. This mag just sits on the shelf basically. I don't really use this one per se because it's in just such good condition. I just kind of like to leave it nice. But yeah, you can see those nice Russian proof marks there. Pretty cool. These are a little uncommon nowadays, to be honest. I mean, you might be able to still get them, but I think, again, like everything lately, they just sold out of these within the past year. Okay. Francis, you could buy another, Legion and put Zenico rails on it. You could. I don't know if I'd be mad, but to be honest, I'd rather you see you get a Sega and convert it because all that Zenico furniture is actually more proper on like a 100 series AK, if you want my opinion. And that's why I kind of make the argument that that gun I just showed you is about as close as you can get to a real Russian, because if you look at the other offerings besides kit builds, And not many kit builds are going to be made by actual Russian people, right, that are working here in the country, like Legion. But so besides kit builds, your other choices are basically Molat, Vepr, or Saiga hunting rifle, so-called. And neither of those are AKMs, right? So there really was never an AKM or a milled or a Type 3, if you want to call it that. Russians were never imported. There were none imported pre-ban, pre-89. So a Molat, that's kind of a, if you wanted to lump it into a category, that's kind of an RPK, even though it's not quite an RPK either, but it's definitely more of an RPK than it is an AKM. And then a Saiga, that's what they call their 100 series rifles. So those also aren't going to be, you know, an AKM. So I think if you're going to do the Zenico and all the modern rails and all that and still want the gun to kind of look legit, I would do that to a Saiga for sure. Or an Arsenal SGL if that's what you wanted to get. Let's see here. Yes, Richard, this underfolder is a milled receiver. This is my Yugo M64 that I've done some videos with. This is kind of an early variant that has the integral bolt hole open. So for those of you that haven't seen it, I'll just do a real quick demo. I know I've done this quite a few times, but there's always people that still aren't familiar. So a lot of the Yugo AKs have what's called a bolt hold open follower in the mag. So when you bring it back, the mag's follower holds it, the bolt open. But then as soon as you release the mag, the bolt slams forward, right? Most AKs don't have any bolt hold open at all. But with the Yugo M64, it takes a special magazine with a little slot that's cut out of it. And with this one, I'm going to cycle the action. Last round's been fired. Now I'm going to remove the mag, and you're going to see that the bolt stays open. And that's due to this actually having an integral mechanism inside of it, much like a modern pistol, to actually retain pressure, spring-loaded pressure, and hold the bolt open. And then just like a lot of guns, there is no actual slide release, but you can just pull back on the charging handle, and it goes back into battery again. So in this gun, the Yugo M64, which is their very earliest milled receiver guns in Yugoslavia, you have to use this special AK mag with the notch cut out. So this itself takes a proprietary mag, this gun, but the nice thing is this mag will still function fine in any other AK. So the mag's pretty modular, but you do have to, and if you don't have the correct Yugo M64 mags, the rest of the geometry of the mag's identical. It'd be literally just a matter of marking out this area with a crayon or whatnot, and then cutting it with a Dremel. So you could recreate these M64 mags probably in 5 minutes. So yeah, that's what this is, Richard. And in some of my past streams, I've talked in quite a bit of detail about this, but yeah, grenade launching / gas shutoff, gas block. Milled features such as the vented gas tube instead of the vented gas block. Standard lightning cut here, but the other side, instead of it looking like a Type 3, it actually has some interesting lightning cuts that almost are reminiscent of a Russian Type 2. So it's kind of a neat, you know, creature in and of its own. And yeah, it's kind of a milled variant, but it's really just kind of a unique Yugoslavian variant. And that's how it is with most Yugo stuff. Yugoslavia never really met the status quo and really copied, you know, exactly what any of the other combat countries did. They always kind of have their own twist on things in the AK world. Let's see here. Zastava USA and PAP. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the difference is going to be. I'm excited if they're importing them in. Like, I hope they're not going to try to transition into making them here. That would really piss me off. Oh, Richard, I love the VZ58. I want to bring those out one time here. Those are all at my house. I'm at my shop filming here. But, yeah, man, I love the VZ58. I have a few of those, and, yeah. The VZ58 is pretty cool. You know, people kind of call it an AK. In all actuality, it has, like, virtually no parts in common with the AK at all. But the cool thing about it is it's a milled receiver. and it's somehow actually lighter weight than the AKM, and quite a bit lighter than like an AK-47 or AK Mild type. So yeah, they're pretty cool. And they actually work a lot more. If you look at the internals of a VZ58, it's a lot closer to the operating of an SKS, actually, meaning it has a tilting bolt rather than a rotating bolt. And the SKS, you'll find, has a lot more in common, in my opinion. The other thing, too, where an AK has a long stroke action, where the gas piston is connected to the actual bolt carrier, whereas the SKS and the VZ58 actually have an intermediate gas system with like an intermediate rod or an operating rod that actually transfers the force with a spring-loaded piston that just slaps the front of the carrier and sends the carrier back into motion. Rather than the AK, it's one continuum movement of one, pinned in monolithic piece. So, yeah. I'm giving you guys like the 10-second version of that. Trust me, I know I could explain it a lot better, but I wasn't really going to do a full VZ58 SKS stream tonight. But I think it'd be cool sometime. I also have a VZ58 kit, too, I can show you guys. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, Warsaw's talking about the VZ58s, yep. Yeah, Warsaw, I'd pick up a VZ58 if I were you, too. Okay, Francis saying it's basically a different stock. Okay. I'd like to see, I mean, now that Sentry's doesn't have their hands in it, that'd be awesome, because that's what Sentry's been doing to all the Wassers and, the different NPAPs, is they change it out with that crappy U.S. wood. Now, in the case of my NPAP DF, which I've showed before, those actually were imported with original, Serbian Zastava wood handguards. So I don't think there's much on the underfolder version that they could improve with the stock, because they're already legit. But the fixed stock versions, that wood's just atrocious. I mean, balsa wood is harder than the wood that they use. And it's not that balsa wood isn't hard, it's just brittle and it's light. And this stuff's way worse. Think like paint stir stick caliber, like that thick junk pine that they can't make anything else out of. That's kind of like what a lot of the modern Century stocks are, unfortunately. And they put them on for 922R reasons, and yeah. I did notice, too, the new AES 10Bs that Century's going to be importing again from the Cougar factory in Romania. They're cool, but instead of having that laminate furniture like they used to, I saw they have that crappy Pinewood Derby car Century wood on them again, which I wasn't too happy about. Arsenal seems to kind of just be disappearing. It doesn't seem like they're interested in importing a lot of guns lately, to be honest. Them and Kavar just play games with, this is the last 5 we found in the stock room. And I don't think they're doing it to be jerks. They're just doing it because there's so few of these guns left right now that they kind of have to hype it up. Because once they sell what they have now, I don't think they have a lot of like replenishment. So yes, they're overhyping it, Kavar is, and yes, they're releasing them a couple at a time. But in all honesty, as a business owner, I see where they're coming from. If they don't get premium money out of the last couple they have and they can't get any more from Bulgaria, well, then they're going to be gone. So it sucks, but it's not really Kavar and Arsenal screwing with people or Fine Group as much as, Bulgaria is more worried about fulfilling military contracts. They made it known a couple years ago, guys, that they were going to focus on military contracts. So I guess if you waited this long to get an Arsenal and now you're complaining that they went up, well, what to say? Not that it's your fault. You had to save your money or whatever. That's not my point. I'm just saying they've been kind of warning us for a couple of years now that, they have military contracts. They're selling to militaries in other countries, and they will prioritize those over U.S. export sales. Warsaw is wondering what it would cost to buy Russian pine directly from Russia to the U.S. and make it. Maybe you could if you were buying the raw material, then you could, because that'd be no different than the CG1 Childers receiver where the blank's made in Poland, but since it's finished here, it's U.S. You could do that, but I don't really know if it's that Russia has better wood than us. I just think that when Century makes these stocks, they're just making them as like dummy stocks just for 922R, and they're expecting you to have to go through and change it to whatever you're going to want. All right, good night, Richard. Glad you stopped by, man. I saw Tyven in here the other day, and we were talking about the Creator Summit briefly, so we'll have to chat about that another day when it's not so late. Let's see here. If any of you guys that are creators, I know there's some other channels in here. You know, the YouTube Creator Summit has its own YouTube page, and if you see Richard or the Tyven Show in any of these streams, you know, talk to those guys. They're two of the main coordinators, if you will. So I know there's a few of you guys have channels. Francis is asking, did I see the new Molat RPK at SHOT Show? No, I didn't actually. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll look into it. You could, but you know, a lot of these, like Warsaw, you're saying with the Russian wood, you know, this is a laminate stock. Even in the COM-block countries, you know, their hardwood's still way better than Century's so-called balsa wood or hardwood. But even the COM-block countries knew that hardwood wasn't really the way to go for an AK. So you'll find pretty much every COM-block country switched over to laminate or some sort of polymer or Bakelite at a certain point. And Tula was no different. So you can see here, it's kind of shiny, but this is a laminate stock. Laminate handguard. Laminate handguards, both upper and lower are both laminate. So really it'd be nice if they, but here's the thing, you know, you can buy like a nice laminate stock, but they're expensive, and usually it's a company like Boyd's that's making them, and a Boyd stock just doesn't really look correct on these guns. So yeah, it would be nice if somebody could figure out how to do that. But the problem is we have so many sanctions on Russia right now, who knows how they could even get it here. So yeah, laminate looks good, and it's also just stronger. Proven fact. There's really no one that can debate that. If for you construction guys, you could take, if you're trying to support a long beam, right, like building a garage or something, and it's going to be a long run, you can buy what's called a lam beam, meaning laminate, and carry a way further span on a certain dimension of lam beam than you could if it was just solid wood. So even in the construction trades, building code has recognized that laminate wood is going to be way stronger on carrying a load, less likely to crack, fracture, swell with the humidity than just a solid chunk of wood. But good ideas, though. I'm always trying to think of little neat, creative ways too, where we can get more of this stuff in the country here that would make our guns just more authentic and more historical. Let's see here. Holes in the lower handguards. Yeah, all handguards don't have holes, for example. Let's see, I got another one sitting right here. Sorry, guys, I keep kind of coughing. I don't really feel sick. It's just I was out breathing some of this frigid air not too long ago, and it feels like it kind of like crystallized my lung temporarily, and I'm kind of... So, yeah, sorry about the little coughs. Yeah, Albert, micro lamb. Exactly. That's another terminology. So this handguard, being a so-called Bulgarian plum, but it's actually still made in Russia, doesn't have the hole. So from what I understand, and there could be something else that I'm missing here, but from what I understand, it's basically simply a drain hole. So, yeah. But they don't all have holes in them, just some do. Lindbergh's telling us there's a website called Soviet Stocks that sells good stocks. So thanks for the heads up. You guys can check that out. The VZ58 does have a locking block that's similar to a P38, if you will. Yes, I would say so. Sure. But it's a the principle I was getting at earlier when I said SKS, like I could spend 2 hours on it. And I might one night, if you guys are interested in that topic, kind of bring a couple of them out on camera and show the differences. So no, it's not like an SKS, but notwithstanding, Okay, let's see if I'm back now. Okay, I'm back. Thanks for letting me know, guys. And I appreciate you guys telling me buffering the second it happens, because then I can just stop talking. And this time I think I caught it pretty quick. Ugh, what a pain in the butt. They sure love to buffer me. And I really don't know what else to do, because I'll literally sit here with like a bandwidth monitor going in another window on my computer. And yeah, my internet's not crashing. It's strictly within YouTube itself that's doing this to me. And it's probably my fault, because I haven't really had the time to learn any special software like a lot of people use. I'm literally just using just within my YouTube, I'm literally just clicking the button saying upload and then live stream. So I'm not using software. I'm just using YouTube's web interface. Yes, Francis, I do remember those early Vepr 12s that had the pistol grip and the black laminated stock. I don't have one of those. I do have a Vepr 12 that has the wood laminated stock, and then I have another one that has the it was the pinned and welded side folding stock where you just broke the little spot weld, and then you had a functional folding stock. So I got a couple versions of the Vepr 12s. Let's see here. Mike J saying the chat's there, but the video's not. Maybe hit refresh. I don't know. See, the window I'm in just shows my, basically just my camera image, and it doesn't tell me if I'm online or not. I mean, I'm sorry. It does say I'm online the whole time. It's just a different window than what you guys are seeing it in. So the only way I can tell is, I'm not really looking at this number normally, but up in the top left-hand corner of the screen, it shows me a number of active participants. And when I can tell that I'm losing the stream and it's buffering, as I watch it go from like 15, and then you'll just see it go 14, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And then by the time I see it drop, usually I look over and you guys have already been saying, yeah, it's like a 10-second delay, whatever. Albert, yeah, I was saying that earlier, probably before you got on. I'm using a Logitech webcam that's on a tripod, and it's a Logitech 920 is the model number. So, all right, Francis, thanks for the info, guy, man. Appreciate you talking about your AKs and all that good stuff. So have a good one. I'll see you next time. Francis is a good guy to have in here. He's always got some good AK stuff. You know who else? We were just talking about this on the phone the other day. Me and one of my buddies that's on here, and you know who probably knows as much about guns as any of us, but he doesn't. I mean, he says stuff, but not as much. But what about this Brastard guy? Have you guys noticed that? I mean, he knows some pretty obscure AK stuff. So if you guys ever have any questions, he can probably help you, because he doesn't type like paragraphs. He's not long-winded like me, but me and Zeke have been studying him. It's like, this guy knows what he's talking about. So I appreciate your input too, Brastard. I mean, I like all you guys. It's not like that. It's just Brastard, he knows more than you guys might think he does. Trust me. Okay, if you guys will let me take a 2-minute break, if anyone wants to stand a little longer, I do have a parts kit I can show you. So I need to grab something to drink. I'm like basically right here right now, but I'll come back on and show you guys a parts kit real quick. Thank you, Warsaw, for allowing me to have a 2-minute break. Warsaw is the chat boss all of a sudden. Oh man, it's freaking cold outside. Wow. Whew. Give me a minute. I know it's late, guys, but I'm gonna do an unboxing of a parts kit. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do it right now, or should I just do another stream? Because I did start about an hour later than I usually do. I can either show you guys something small that I have here and save the parts kit for another day. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should do the parts kit another stream, just because we could spend like over an hour just talking about this parts kit. What do you guys think? It's up to you guys. Or maybe I can do something in the middle. Maybe I can just unbox it real quick. Let's do this. I'll just do the unboxing tonight, and then we'll actually talk about the kit and get into it another stream. Does that sound good? Or maybe I'll just stay up all night tonight, and when I get off of this stream, I'll just record a standalone video. So that's what I'll do. I kind of always like to I think, you know, in all my streams, I've done it in the past, and I think I'll keep doing it. I kind of like to do unboxings and like first reveals of stuff during my streams, because these are kind of like my main buddies that hang out in here. And then even though everyone can watch my streams, a lot of people don't really watch the stream after the fact. So I let all my good buddies see it first, if you know what I'm saying, right? So I'll bust it out right now. Let's see here. A couple quick comments. Ooh, no, I did not see that video, Braster, and I don't even think I want to. I do have some Russian capture mark P38s though. All right. So here's the box, and I opened the box because there was some other accessories within, but this is from Arms of America, and I'm going to basically unwrap my AIMS 74 kit. So AIMS 74, which is Romania's version of a AK-74, if you will, chambered in 5.45. So let's see what we got here. If you guys have ordered kits from AIMS, you know what I'm talking about. They don't skimp on this paper. And it might crunch in the camera, but what else am I going to do? Wow, this is nice. So here's our laminated lower handguard with the so-called dong-shaped foregrip, right? Forward grip. And you can clearly see this is a laminated part. And this will give me a real quick opportunity to show the contrast. So when I hold them up next to each other, you can actually see how red this Tula Russian really is. It might not look as red on camera, but when you actually hold it up to the more tan colored chem block wood, yeah, there's quite the contrast. So I don't know. Just had to show that. It was a neat opportunity to show you guys the difference. And by the way, this parts kit that I bought was advertised as excellent / unissued. Last time I bought an unissued / excellent kit from them, it was a truly unissued Polish. So let's see what it is here. All right, here's our pistol grip. And I'm almost already guessing this is an unissued kit already, guys. I've been at this kit game so long, it doesn't take me long. I mean, look at this grip. It's a really pretty grip. Look at all the marbling they put in there. This is what most people call Bakelite. And yeah, it's pretty. See the variations, how it goes from a light blonde into an orange, and then even some blood red down in the bottom. This is cool. And you could buy like 50 of these and no two would look alike. That's the cool thing about Bakelite. And yes, I know it's technically more of an AG4, but we'll just call it Bakelite, guys. Okay, hold on. I gotta set this down. There's a few parts in this wrap. All right, we got a recoil spring here, and it looks pretty much brand new. Albert's giving you guys some info here. We can't provide direct links, but he's giving you enough info that you need. If you paste that into your search engine or into the AOA website, you'll find what he's talking about. So I appreciate that. Brasser just got a matching Model 63. So that's going to be a Romanian, all matching besides the upper handguard. All right, here's our cover. Now, this has a few scratches on it, but as you guys probably already know, when you buy these surplus kits, they can be like very lightly used or even unissued and still have scratches because they just kind of pile these rifles up, right, when they ship them or when they were stored in their depots. So this is a serialized part with the aims. I don't know, it's not focusing, but it does bear a serial number, which a lot of times on AKs, the serial number is back here. Well, with the AKMS, it's right there. Bolt and carrier assembly. Yep, they're both matching. They both have 1025 on them, which is the same number that was on there. And, yep, this is unissued, guys. Completely unissued. Zero wear. There's always going to be wear here, right? Like, you guys know what I mean. There's always wear here, regardless. So, yeah, we're back to another unissued kit. This is nice. I was hoping it would be. Yep, it's unissued. Look at that bolt face. I don't know why it's not catching the light, but, yeah. So we got our bolt and carrier assembly, 545 by 39. One more big bundle here. Yeah, I bought a bunch of those AOA Type 1 AKM bayonets for $5. I'll show you guys those one time when they had them on like Black Friday. They're kind of hit and miss, but then again, they're only $5. So don't expect to have it look like, you know, a trophy. And again, Warsaw's right. Nothing wrong with some wear and tear. It's fine. It's just, yeah. It just depends what you want. I'm probably going to buy another one of these kits and get a Battlefield pickup. I just wanted kind of a brand new one too. Wow, this is nice. Look at this. So this is headspace to a nitrided barrel by Arms of America. You can see the Bakelite upper handguard. Pretty much matches to a T with the handguard, right? Look at that. This is really pretty, guys. These are the kits that Zeke and I have been ranting and raving over and peer pressuring you guys on for the last month or two. Yep, so the Trunnion matches. Everything's matching, guys, here. 1993. Nice. All right, the lower handguard. I don't think they number the AIM 74 lower handguards. I know on some of the Romanians they do. I have another parts kit to show you guys soon. I bought one of those paratrooper RPK kits, and I know those I believe those they numbered. Maybe they didn't. We'll find out. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, I don't it's actually in communist bloc AKs, it's actually rare that they number handguards. There's some Russians that did and such, but in the rule of thumb, your handguards are usually unnumbered. Yeah, Warsaw says he prefers user issue wear versus poor storage. Yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, this kit looks pretty good though, guys. I don't, no complaints here. The dust cover's got some wear on it, but that's fine. But it's not a ton of wear. I mean, a lot of this is just kind of superficial. There's a few little scratches just in the finish, but nothing that's dinged. So yeah, I'm kind of happy, guys. Let's see what else I got here. I can't imagine what I might be missing. Anyone have any guesses? This is my first AK I've ever bought, so I'm not really sure what parts are supposed to come with it. Oh, wait, this guy. Am I buffering? Couple people said I'm buffering. So let me know. Okay. I guess I'm back, they said. All right. Anyways, I don't know if you guys heard me say this, but since this is my first AK I've ever bought or kit, I'm not sure what parts I'm missing, but there's this guy too. So these are a little different than a lot of the folding stocks. A lot of folding stocks have it where there's a little lever on the top here that you push, right? This one has a button in the rear. Yeah, appears to fold and lock into place just fine. Again, just a few little teeny at the end of my finger, they're not paying attention. I know better too. It's just weird. Have you guys ever noticed that when you're doing something in a camera and you're looking at the camera, you kind of like almost lose your depth perception? But yeah, this is nice. And just so you guys know, somebody asked me before what type of trunnion for an AIM 74, and the answer is a fixed stock trunnion. So if you're getting receivers made for these are going to be a fixed stock. So believe it or not, that same wood stock I showed you guys on that Legion Russian AKM, probably a little hand fitting, of course, because all wood stocks sometimes need a little hand fitting on the tang area, is actually going to fit into the rear trunnion of this. So even though this looks like a folding stock, which it is, it utilizes this whole like mechanism that goes in, and it's still retained by the two upper tang screws of the rear trunnion, where some receivers will say, like, you know, do you need for 4.5 or 5 millimeter, you know, pen holes for your stock? And what they're referring to is this type of folding stock. So some AKs, as you guys are familiar with, mainly Russians and Bulgarians, they utilize a hinge pin here, and instead of the mechanism being built into the stock, like this AIM 74, and the Romanians are the same way as these, most of the other Romanians, like the PM90s are the same as this, the Egyptians, all that. The folding mechanism is built into the stock, whereas some of the Russian side folders, the mechanism's in the receiver of the gun itself. So it's part of the trunnion, right, rather than the stock. And in that case, you have to know which type of millimeters they're referred to as. So you could have a 4.5 millimeter pin, meaning this pin right here, or a 5.5 millimeter. And then on the forward part of the gun, on the lower left portion, there's a button that you use to release, and there's a linkage that releases the trunnion to allow the stock to then fold. So somebody was asking me about that. I thought I'd answer that right now while I had the opportunity. So the folding mechanism's in the stock, so it's still considered a fixed stock trunnion on the gun, whereas if you have a stock like this that's a folding stock without any mechanism, then it's considered to be a folding trunnion. I hope I cleared that up, even though I think I might have worded it all backwards. And we should be able to confirm by this last package where we have the bag of goodies, as we call it. We've got all of our trigger group, springs, pins. And we should also have our selector and our rear trunnion. So let me find the rear trunnion. Here's our muzzle brake, which I would note is a unique thread pattern. It looks kind of like an AK-74 muzzle brake, but this is not compatible with AK-74. This is a special thread pitch that's only going to work on the AIMs. So there you go. And unlike being 14x1 left hand on a normal AKM, this is the standard right hand thread. So this thread's on, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And I'm noticing a little burr here. I think I need to just take a wire brush and brush out. It's not really a burr. There's just some gunk in the threads, right? And you'll also notice the barrel itself is not threaded, right? It's a pressed on. Okay? Pressed on front sight that actually has the threads in it. But I'm getting into too much detail. I just wanted to answer the question about the trunnion. So here's the rear trunnion of this kit. And this is going to look just like a regular fixed stock stamped AKM type trunnion. So yeah, your answer is if you're selecting a receiver for this and you tell, say, Childers that it's a, you can select your markings and all that, aim 74, and then it'll say trunnion holes. It'll offer you like 4.5 millimeter, 5.5 millimeter underfolder, and then fixed stock. And that's what this is. And yes, you can put a regular old-fashioned wood or polymer or whatever fixed stock on your AIM 74 if for some reason you don't like that wire side folder. So I thought that's pretty neat too. Because even though it won't look correct, some of you that buy these might decide that you want, a fixed stock just for shooting stability and comfort, and you can absolutely do that. Okay, the selector, same thing. It's serial number matching. It's got the 1025. So yeah. Pretty nice kit here. Trigger. Looks a little different than the triggers we installed, doesn't it, guys? Wish we could install it like this. Wouldn't that be awesome? These triggers are cool, too. These are like a factory drop-in trigger, if you will. This is pretty cool, actually. How it has the rate reducer or the safety sear. Out of battery safety. It's still built in. It's all retained with the little spring. And there's the pin through the middle. So this is a lot like what we would call a drop-in trigger. It's got all that stuff retained within that little pin. That's pretty cool. Most kits don't come like this, by the way. With the completely drop-in. But see this little guy right here? And this little guy with this spring back here? We're allowed to have this. I can show this to you guys. What I can't have is a receiver with that quote-unquote third pinhole. So I'm just kind of complaining to you guys. Look how you guys know what this is, obviously. So you can show this, you just don't really say what this is. We don't know what this is. This is this is what they refer to as a paperweight, is what it is. Semi-automatic paperweight. Fully semi-automatic paperweight. Okay. We got other odds and ends in here. There's your trigger guard. And this got bent during the demail process. Look at that. Man. I don't think there's any way this is correct. No, that's not. So, yeah, I just found the first thing that kind of sucks. Look at that bent mag catch lever. I mean, it'll still kind of work, but I might be able to just put it back on a bench and pound it back again. But, man, that's going to suck. Because this is basically crimped and gusseted for support here on the sides. So, yeah, it looks like a new mag catch is going to be in order. That's what happens when you buy surplus. It may be an unissued kit, but obviously it was dropped at a certain point while it was a rifle or something hit it while they were demilling it, one of the two. Other than that, it's a fairly careful demill. I mean, they stretch that rivet hole a little bit. But luckily for me, none of this kind of stuff's going to be serial numbered. These are pretty cheap. I can get one of these new releases, catches. I already have quite a few, actually. But no, it's not supposed to be bent. This is just what happens when you buy on the surplus market, guys. I'm a little disappointed because now I have to go through and drill this out, reform it. Zeke did a good video on how to do this, but these are a little bit of a pain in the butt to do. I was hoping I could just use it as I received it, but hey, you guys are seeing it right with me in real time. It's the first time I'm looking at it too, and yeah, it's bent. Oh man. This here paperweight, it's what they refer to as the fully semi-automatic paperweight. They didn't cut any kind of notch out of the edge of the paperweight, so this is still fully semi-automatic paper capabilities here. Yeah, Brassard said his upper handguard lever was bent all crazy and took a torch and bent it back. With the lever, probably these, you know what I mean? How they crimp them and kind of, bend them over. I'll be able to handle this, guys. I'm just only showing it to you because a lot of you guys are starting to buy kits for the first time. And even though this is obviously an unissued kit, this can happen. It's welcome to the milsurp world. If you're not a tinkerer and you don't mind little pitfalls, and I'm sorry, if you do mind the little pitfalls and you're not a tinkerer, don't buy kits. Or if you do, still buy them. They're great investments. You can buy kits. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Most of my kits I don't even build. I just buy them and keep them. So I think this video should be fine because it's just a review of a kit and I'm not going to build it. So whatever. This is pretty cool. See this here? This is what you call a fully semi-automatic paper clip. You notice with this being fully semi-automatic paper clip, it has some some extra. This is what you would call 3 sheets of paper burst paper clip assembly, is why this has some extra things in addition to the normal fully semi-automatic paperweight like you see on a lot of guns. I'm going to call this the 3-sheet burst paper clip. Got me? I think you guys know what this is too, but some words aren't really considered good words nowadays, though, if you guys know what I mean. There we go. This is definitely part of the... This is definitely used for the 3 sheets of paper, fully semi-automatic paper clip, too. And I do like the braided strings better myself. I've talked about this a number of times. And I'm learning something new today, guys, too. I've never had an AIM 74, and apparently at this point in time in Romania, they went to the solid, unbraided springs. I don't think they always did because I've seen pictures of them where they didn't, but am I buffering again? Yeah, this is cool. This is an original Con Block part, and it's actually not braided. I don't prefer this kind, but at the same time, it's kind of cool to know that they actually did make them this way. And here's a Sentry Rack 1 that looks pretty similar. You can see Sentry put like extra coils probably to make up for their faulty metallurgy. But yeah, so I guess this is a thing, guys. Although generally I do put more. But yeah, you guys got to see it first. Hopefully you guys liked it. And maybe you're interested in one of these AIM 74 kits. With all the fully semi-automatic paper weights and paper clips and all that. This is kind of cool. I wish so like this, but whatever. Yeah. All right, let me see if there's anything in the comments. Thank you, Warsaw. Said this is pretty. Thanks again, Warsaw, for also saying it's pretty. Wolf Spring. Yeah, it does remind me. Yeah, just like you were saying, it reminds you of the one from the rack. I didn't even read that, but I was showing you my rack one. Yeah, Albert, these are bicycle parts, basically. Good call. Good call. But yeah, this is pretty cool, guys. I'm happy. I'd be 100% happy if I had the mag catch wasn't bent. But hey, it's not that big of a deal. I'm still 98.5% happy with this purchase. This is cool. And we can look at some of this stuff up next to a 74 and do a more in-depth review of it later. All right, guys, it's getting late. I've been on for about an hour and a half, so I'm going to be getting off here. If you guys have any last-minute comments, go ahead and drop them in there. For some reason, I think the video is running about 5 minutes behind right now because I looked at it on a YouTube screen separate from my screen, and it looks like it's still there. It's just running behind her a little bit. Well, let's see here. All right, no problem, Warsaw. All right, guys, I'm going to be heading off. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully you guys liked what you saw and had a good time hanging out. Zeke should be doing his stream tomorrow, which is Thursday. And yeah, I'll probably pop back in maybe later this week. If not, sometime next week. So we'll talk about this next time. For some reason, I'm watching it here. It's funny, but YouTube's behind right now a little bit. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining in. Thanks, Lindbert. I'm sorry, Lindbert. You guys be safe out there. Be warm. Really be safe if you're around where I'm at because it's freezing out there. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.